Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of My Sister's TBR, where we discuss our past, current, and future reads. I'm Stacey.
And I'm Rebecca. This episode, we're recapping all the books we read this month and our featured read, What Lies Within Masks and Shadows by Nicole May.
Our recaps will be spoiler-free, but for our featured read this month, we have a little treat.
We had the absolute pleasure of interviewing Nicole this month, and we truly had a great time and a lot of laughs, so we'll be sharing some of that interview with you guys this episode.
And it's all spoiler-free, so make sure you stick around to get some laughs. We'll post the full episode tomorrow, and that will include spoilers.
A lot, yeah.
A lot.
So whether you're commuting, working out, or just relaxing at home, you know, the usual, we're thrilled to have you with us.
Get ready for a dose of bookish goodness on My Sister's TBR. So, how many books have you read this month? Give me a number.
Oh my god. This month, so I took off running the first half. The last half,
Oh, no.
not doing okay. But I caught up, or I got very far ahead at the beginning of the month, so we're fine.
Right.
Just the last 2 weeks. Good God. I read 5 books this month.
Nice. That's a good month for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I hope that actually comes across as legitimate, because I just realized, like, some people might think that I'm being super saucy every time that I tell you, like, good job for reading. I'm not trying to, like, be condescending or anything. I just, legit, I'm
I know,
proud
I know
of
you mean it well. Thanks. How many did you read this month?
I read 7. 7 books
Damn.
this month. It was a good month for books. Like they were all, besides one, great books. And I can't wait to get into them.
Wasn't it only last month that you didn't read very much at all?
Oh my gosh, last month I read, for February, I read 4 books. But one of them was the really short story, one of the Amazon originals, and also one of those 4 was 2 of those 4 were rereads, so they were a lot easier to read again. So February really was a bad month.
You bounced back.
I bounced back a little, yeah.
Damn.
I cannot wait to talk about these books. Like, there are some really, really good books here.
I don't even know what you read. I like to stay off of Goodreads so that I'm surprised by what you read each month.
I need to really start, like, upping my game and reading, like, very strange books so I can really get a good reaction out of you.
Yeah.
Like, Unhinged.
I was literally just going to say that. Yep. That was the last
like,
time that I was like...
Ice Planet Barbarians is another one that I've read that's been
one.
questionable. Yeah. So I need to start, like, throwing in these, like, really different books just to keep you on your toes.
Just a little sprinkle, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. The first book I read this month was The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros.
Oh.
So this is a romance. So this is 426 pages. This is a book that I've had on my bookshelf for ages. This was the book that I said that I didn't even realize was by Rebecca Yarros until I was entering Fourth Wing into my app and noticed that I had Rebecca Yarros already in there. I was like, what? What do I have by Rebecca Yarros? And this was the book.
Crazy.
Just a little synopsis on it. Ryan, a soldier, leaves behind a heartfelt letter for his best friend Beckett, urging him to leave the army and go to Telluride to support Ryan's sister Ella, who is struggling to raise her twins alone after losing their parents, grandmother, and now Ryan. Ryan hints at something else tearing her family apart and that she's going to need help. As Beckett grapples with his own grief, he embarks on a journey to fulfill Ryan's wish, discovering the complexities of Ella's life and the power of love to heal. Set aside the backdrop of Telluride's beauty, the novel explores themes of friendship, sacrifice, and the resilience of the human spirit. So this is a best friend sibling, and it was dual POV. I was very close to giving this a full 5-star. I honestly, I rated it 4.5, and thinking back on it, I really don't know what I deducted the half a star for. I don't know. I don't remember. But there must have been something. Yeah, I think I know. But this has to be spoiler free, so damn it.
There is something that's going to leave out a star, but...
Yeah. The Last Letter, a profoundly moving journey through grief, sacrifice, the power of love. So from the moment that I picked it up, I was swept away by the emotional depth and raw honesty. And this was a roller coaster of emotions. It does not hold back in exploring heavy themes. So check your triggers big time, because this is just... is packed. As a parent myself, I found certain aspects of it just absolutely gutting. Honestly, I don't think I've cried so hard reading a book.
Okay.
I finished this book and I was an absolute wreck. So at its core, The Last Letter is a testament to the strength of familial bonds and the enduring power of friendship. The relationship between Beckett and Ella, which is Ryan's sister, it's initially a lot of tension, because Ella, she's grappling with her independence. She doesn't want, the help from this stranger. And, and just dealing with the loss of her brother and now being alone, essentially, with her twins. But Beckett's unwavering commitment to fulfilling Ryan's last wish, it's a super transformative journey for both of them. And despite the rocky start, Beckett's dedication to support Ella and her twins, it's so inspiring. His willingness to step into the parental role, which isn't something that's I haven't read many books that really show this outside person coming into a parental role while not being a parent done as well as this book perceives it. So he's this stability in amongst all this chaos that Ella is going through, and it's just... It was so good. It's just, Rebecca Yarros just does an incredible job navigating all the complexities of grief, portraying its impact on individuals and families. It's done so sensitively, and it just feels so authentic. It felt so real reading this book. I don't know how she writes it, and if she didn't go through it herself. How do you put this into a book?
Yeah.
Right?
God. Especially to put everything into the perfect words. So, if somebody was reading that who have went through those things, they're oh my god, this, speaks to my friggin' soul. And then if she never went... so she must know someone, maybe, who went through those things.
I need to read the acknowledged.
Talk to them, and...
Yeah. I'd say, there has to be, because, there's a lot... Now, I do know in the acknowledgements, she does mention, certain people that she has had a lot of conversations with throughout the writing of this book, because she wanted to make sure that everything was done correctly, that she was it's really difficult to try to say things without spoilers, but yeah, it is definitely a book that needs to be read. I do remember why I docked off that half a star. And it was solely just because I know this is weird, but the heartache that, I don't know, in a way I felt it wasn't needed for the story. It was almost it felt like it was just done just to rip your heart out.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. But even still, I think I could still go back to this now and change it from a 4.5 to a 5. because it has stuck with me the entire month. Like, I'll just randomly think about it and get so freaking sad and just want to cry again.
Okay, that is a 5-star worthy book right there.
Yeah.
I think you need to go back and change it.
Yeah, I think I will. I don't think it was, like, particularly spicy. Like, I mean, it did have some good scenes. So I only rated it, like, a 2 out of 5 on the spice scale. Plot development was a 3 out of 5. Character development was a 4 out of 5. Like, that was just phenomenal. World building, 3 out of 5. The writing style was 5 out of 5. Like, she just blew this out of the park. And the cover design was 3.5 out of 5 because I did like the cover of this one. And my favorite quote: sometimes bad things happen, and there's no blame to be placed. You can't reason with the universe, no matter how sound your logic is, and we can either breathe through the pain or we can let it shape us. Dang.
I just got goosebumps.
Right in the chest. Oh. It's probably going to be a contender for best book of... I know it's really early for me to say that, but it's high up really there for my favorites so far in 2024.
Damn. Well, at the beginning of when we started this, we did our favorites of every month, right? Mm-hmm. When did we do that? When did we do that?
Oh, no, we did that at our end. Yeah, our end of the year wrap up. We gave our favorites for each month and then narrowed it down. That was tough.
I can remember that now. That was really tough.
This might be a really bad month for that. Because I have a lot of good books this month.
Yeah, agreed, honestly. Same here.
What was your first book of the month?
Okay. So, last month, I started my Freida McFadden obsession. I'm going to call it that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I went into this month calling this Freida McFadden Month Madness. Right?
I love it.
I did that for sure. I went mad. So my first one this month was Never Lie by Freida McFadden. That was your book club book, right?
The book club book, yeah.
Right, so I was just a little bit delayed in reading it. Yeah, better late than never. It's fine. Mm-hmm. This is a mystery thriller, of course. I feel like every single one of her books are mystery thrillers.
Yeah, I think pretty well.
Synopsis. Trisha and Ethan, newlyweds searching for their dream home, get trapped in a remote manor during a violent snowstorm. Exploring the house, Trisha finds a secret room with audio tapes of Dr. Adrian Hale's patients, shedding light on the psychiatrist's mysterious disappearance. As she listens, a chilling truth emerges, leading to a shocking revelation on the final cassette. This was dual POV between Trisha and Dr. Adrian Hale, and it's also dual timeline. And I love that. I love dual timelines. Oh, yeah. Especially when they're bouncing back and forth and it's all leading up to this one big volcano eruption, and you're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and you know what's coming.
Yep.
I only rated this a 3 out of 5. Again, I think we need to form our own rating system. Because I can't rate this a 4 or a 5 when I also have rated ACOTAR 5s.
Yeah.
Right? In my brain, I can't put them in the same. I don't know why. It's just me. It's just a me thing.
I think you just need to not look at it that way, that you're comparing it to ACOTAR. You almost just need to...
everything. Compare everything to ACOTAR. I can't help it.
To rate it based on, how you feel after.
I can't do that. Fair enough. I've tried. Writing style, obviously, 5 out of 5. Like, she knows her shit, and she knows how to get people to sit on the edge of their seat, and then bam, plot twist. Bam, another small plot twist that you didn't expect to happen. Like, crazy. Yeah, I kind of expected, like, a paranormal type of aspect with, like, the picture.
Mm-hmm.
I expected that, but it wasn't.
Did you kind of, like, feel a little, like, let down a bit by not having a paranormal?
Maybe, like, a little bit when it first came to light. When I first found out why. But it was fine, because it was still... It didn't let me down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it's still...
As Maddie would say, it still slapped.
Interesting. Okay, it still slapped. Yep. It did.
We're getting too
anyway.
old.
Yep.
I still want to say it's lit. Like, that to me still seems like new slang, lingo, whatever. But it's not. No. Ratchet.
Oh, God. There we go.
Anyways, totally off the rails right now.
Yeah. So with this though, like, I thought I knew who EJ, what is it? Was it EJ, the initials on the cassette, I think?
Possibly, I think so.
Anyway, like, basically the suspect.
Yeah.
I thought I knew who it was.
I think she, like, very subtly tries to drive you in that direction with all the comparisons.
And she's like, just kidding. Nope.
Psych.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, wow. I took pictures of myself, of some of my reactions to the plot twists and my jaw being, like, on the floor.
Why do you not send me these?
I don't know. I don't know why I didn't. I think because I take the picture and I'm like, okay, I'll send that after. And then I'm continuing and then I just completely forget. But yeah, one of my pictures for my jaw being on the floor was for this one. Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah, she got me.
Amazing. So that was my third Freida McFadden. And immediately, as soon as I was done, I went right into another.
She's just too good. It's too easy to read her books.
God. So easy, and so easy to, like, picture everything so well, and to, like, actually get, like, nervous and biting your fingernails, like,
yeah.
God. What did you read next?
Ooh. So I read Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. This is the first book in the Sky and Sea series. It's a YA fantasy.
Oh.
And it has 340 pages. So, synopsis of this one. In a world of ancient rivalries, 17-year-old Aelin, bred for battle alongside her Aska kin, faces a shocking betrayal when she sees her brother, presumed dead, fighting for the enemy Riki clan. Stranded in enemy territory, she must navigate treacherous alliances and confront her own prejudices, teaming up with her brother's friend, Fisk, to unite the warring clans against a common enemy. As she grapples with questions of loyalty and love, Aelin's journey challenges her to redefine her notions of family and trust in a tale of survival and unlikely alliances. So this is like found family, enemies to lovers. I rated it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this. Was very YA, but in terms of, like, it not being heavy on, like, the romance side of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, it really thrust readers into, like, a whirlwind of action and intensity, like, right from the opening pages. The setting is, like, Viking-inspired warfare.
Oh.
Okay, so, like, it was, so think, like, gore, basically. It was definitely more intense than most YA fantasy books in general. Yeah, so like Adrienne Young fearlessly embraced the gritty realities of battle, offering a refreshing change from like the typical portrayals often found in YA books. It did catch me off guard, so if you are sensitive to violence, just tread carefully because it will
Interesting.
catch you
Yeah.
off guard.
Yeah, especially going into a YA, you think that it's gonna...
Yeah, yeah. But yeah,
Mm.
she did such a good job at writing this. So like the main female character, she is fiercely independent, strong, resilient, just overall a badass main character.
Damn.
Yes, and we see like so much character development from her, like in terms of like her prejudices and overcoming the boundaries of her upbringing is a true testament to Adrienne Young's skill as a writer. Is that Elend's evolution just feels so organic and just so satisfying. Like it just felt so realistic. Yeah, I cannot rave enough about her writing. It's vivid, immersive, evocative. It just makes you imagine yourself alongside her as she navigates the world. And I love that.
That's literally the only reason why we read.
Exactly.
So that we can escape this world and go into a different world. So
Precisely.
She's hitting it spot on.
And I know like I did just mention about the romance, but it's like really slow burn and it never overshadows the central narrative. So like Elend's character development is always the center stage.
I love that.
I know, me too. But like their relationship, how it evolves, it's just so sweet. And like there's this vulnerability between them. And it just adds so much depth to the story. It was very wonderfully done. Again, like I said, the spice was 0 out of 5. There was no spice in this. Like, it's YA. But like everything else about this was just like, is one of those big shiny 4 stars. Yeah. Ones where it's very close to 5. And honestly, like I couldn't pick a favorite quote, so I've got 2 highlighted. The first one is, I could still see a young Elend standing on the beach, turned into the wind, a sword in one hand and an axe in the other. I hadn't lost her. I hadn't buried her. I'd only let her change into something new. And then the second quote that I had was, we find things just as we lose things. If you've lost your honor, you'll find it again. Oh, I just love her writing.
Like, how do people put these things? How do you word that?
How do you? I can't even finish. Anybody who listens to this podcast knows I can never finish a freaking sentence. Like it's always left like this. So if I were to ever read a book. If I were ever to write a book, it would just be
unfinished thoughts.
Unfinished thoughts. There we go.
There's so many times when I'm editing and I'm trying so hard to piece it together to try to make it sound like you did finish a sentence. Just can't.
Listen, I know my brain is damaged beyond repair. But yeah.
Oh my god.
I cannot keep a single thought straight in my head.
My next was The Locked Door by Freida McFadden, of course. Mystery thriller. Synopsis. Nora Davis, daughter of a notorious serial killer, leads a quiet life as a successful surgeon. But when a young patient is murdered in a manner reminiscent of her father's crimes, Nora realizes someone knows her dark past. With suspicion looming, Nora must keep her secret hidden, even if it means confronting the horrors of her father's past hidden in her basement.
Ooh.
So,
okay.
Damn. This was also dual timeline, but it was a duel between like adult Nora and child Nora. Mm-hmm. Again, with Freida, like with her writing, she likes to, like you were saying, like she likes to try and like lead you down this path to what you think is gonna be the plot twist, but it's like there's another little road, and it's like it's like hard right, yeah. So obviously, with the title being The Locked Door, she had So in adult Nora's life, she starts dating this guy, and he also has a locked door. So that is where you're thinking the title comes into play. But it's not. And then it's like they open the locked door and it's like, oh, okay, this is suspicious. What's going on here? Is this where like the main plot is coming from? Nope. Nope. There's another locked door from childhood Nora's point of view, and that's where the title's from and where like the main like plot is. Yeah.
Okay.
The ending, of course, plot twist. What I've been noticing, she has 2 plot twists. There's like one big one, and then there's another like subtle one, but still really good. So the ending plot twist of like who is, okay, can't say too much, but the end plot twist, yes, I was not expecting it whatsoever. Like literally, it's not even in your mind at all. It was kind of a letdown. As surprising as it was just like, oh, okay, like that's weird. Okay, why are they doing that? Like, I don't know. This one like didn't have my jaw on the floor. It was still really, really good. Like there were so many things that was happening, and I was like, oh my god, like how is that happening? Who's doing that? What's going on? Like so many, yeah, crazy.
Did you kind of feel like the way that you were saying that the plot twist, did you kind of feel like she had to try to think of something else to get you away from like you not being right with the plot twist?
I think so. Just because like, yeah, because now that I think about it, now that I think back to it, like there was this separate situation with the other locked door. They were trying to make that seem like it was a whole thing, but it wasn't. So I don't know what the point of that was.
Okay. Now I have another question for you. Because I noticed it with Never Lie when I read it the second time, because that was my second time reading it for the book club. I was not enjoying it a second time. Like to me, it does not read well as a second read.
Oh shit.
Do you think that like this book would have been a good book to go back and read a second time to pick up on little things? Because for Never Lie, it was not at all an enjoyable read, because not just knowing what the plot twists were, but there were so many plot holes going back and reading it a second time.
Yeah, I think I'd be afraid of that in this as well. Yeah, I can actually kind of see that. It's like they're good quick reads where you're not looking into it too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also now, oh yeah, I'm remembering this now too. I wouldn't want to reread it just because in her childhood point of view, she talks about like there's bullies in her school and there's this kid who always gets picked on. I don't know, and like they were like 11 years old, and like that made me feel like sad. I don't know, like I didn't like it, and like the things that they were saying to this kid, like I know it needs to be said for like the book and for you to understand Nora's like childhood and like why, you know, she is the way that she is, and she's, you know, traumatized, especially being the daughter of a notorious murderer. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, the kids really were not nice, and they were saying some really messed up things, and I just really didn't like it. So I wouldn't reread this. Besides for like knowing that there's gonna be like plot holes, I don't know, there was like a couple times where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go in bed and cry now.
Yeah,
sad. But still amazing. Like for a one-time read, just a nice quick read. Oh my god, it was amazing. And again, like her writing, beautiful. Like I could picture literally everything. Like even now, thinking back to it, I can like I feel like I've said this during our interview. I feel like I watched that as a movie. Like I can picture the hallway where this locked door is. I can picture the apartment of the other locked door. Like that's so freaking weird. And I can picture like the office that she works in. Like what the hell? Anyway, yeah.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah. Sorry, I wish I could like take my brain out and give you some.
Yeah, I would really like that because I could use a fully functioning one.
I know. I'm not saying that it would be fully functioning because I'm also not a very fully functioning.
At least 2 of our brains put together, at least we make somewhat of a functioning adult.
All right, take it away, Ernie.
I love how that's become like an almost every episode thing. Stupidest
Gonna be
thing.
a bumpy ride.
Okay. My next read was A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson, and it's a fantasy horror.
Oh.
This one was very easy, a 5-star read for me. I devoured this book, and I put it off because I didn't think I was going to like it, so I kept putting it off, and so this was the book club book for March. So, like, for the book club, the last giveaway, or not giveaway, but the last, like, challenge that we did, we said the winner would be able to pick the book club book. So, this was what they picked, and I just didn't think I was going to feel it. I don't know. It just didn't really click, I guess. But, oh boy. So, I put it off and literally read it in, like, maybe a day.
Jeez. How many pages did you say it was?
I didn't say.
Important information.
292 pages. So it's not a big book.
But not bad.
It's done very interestingly. It's done like letters. Okay. I'll read the synopsis so at least people know what we're talking about. So, A Dowry of Blood.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. It unveils the untold story of Dracula's first bride. Saved from death's grip, Constanza is thrust into a world of darkness and desire as she grapples with her immortal husband's secrets. As love intertwines with deception, Constanza faces a harrowing choice between freedom and eternal servitude in a tale where bonds of blood are tested and broken only by death. So this is a sapphic vampire romance. It has an unreliable narrator and no name given. So by unreliable narrator, I mean like this is all from Constanza's point of view. And it starts out right off the bat with her talking to, like, everything is just you. Okay, she's talking. It's like it's letters done to Dracula, so it never names Dracula. It's always you. So as you're reading it, you feel like she's reading it to you, or she's writing it to you. So you're only getting her side of everything. So that's why, like I've said, it's an unreliable narrator, and the no name given. So we don't actually know that her husband is Dracula, which is really, really cool.
Okay, I like this.
Yeah. It's really, like, just a refreshing take on the Dracula legend. And it's, like I said, focusing on his wife. So it's, like, a really interesting narrative already, like, right from the start. And it feels so personal because it's done as letters from Constanza to Dracula. Yeah. And, like, it really delves into, like, complexities of abusive relationships. It's shedding light on the insidious nature of, like, power dynamics, manipulation, and gaslighting. So despite the heavy subject matter, the novel does strike a delicate balance between horror and romance. I had no idea how this was going to work, a horror romance, because I don't think I've ever read a book that's been considered a horror romance.
Same. Never even thought about it being a book that I'd want to read.
No. Yeah, and like Gibson portrays like her struggles with such rawness and authenticity. But yeah, like overall it was just so captivating and thought-provoking. And like it really sticks with you after you've read it, because like I've never read anything from any other perspective of Dracula. Like,
no, same.
It was just so well written. I cannot get over it.
That's so different too, though, like you were saying, like fantasy horror. That's such a different category than we've ever
And the spice was 4.5 out of 5. Like, it was few, but really well done.
Delicious.
Yeah. Very much worth the read. Very much. Like, everything else, like I said, it was 5 out of 5. It was... But yeah, again, I couldn't pick between 2 different quotes, so I'll just read out 2 of them. 'Cause why not? Just to give you an idea of what her writing was like in this book. I wanted to dash myself against your rocks like a wave, to obliterate my old self and see what rose, shining and new from the sea foam. The only words I had to describe you in those early days were plunging cliffside or primordial sea, crystal cold stars or black expanse of sky. I dove down deep into your psyche, turning over every word you gave me like a jewel, looking for meaning, seeking out the mysteries of you. I didn't care if I lost myself in the process. Like, that's just... What?
Excuse me? That is beautiful.
Yeah. This is where she sort of explains why she doesn't come out and say Dracula's name. You did not let me keep my name, so I will strip you of yours. In this world, you are what I say you are. And I say you are a ghost, a night-long's fever dream that I have finally woken up from. I say you are the smoke-wisp memory of a flame, thawing ice suffering under an early spring sun, a chalk ledger of debts being wiped clean. I say you do not have a name.
Oh my god.
How do you put words like this and string them together and it be so beautiful?
That's poetry.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. So, like, just those couple quotes alone to give you an idea of her writing, like, that alone was 5 out of 5 for me. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, it was just, it read like poetry. And it was just amazing. Highly recommend the audiobook. The narrator for it is just phenomenal.
Damn, okay. So, my next one was another Freida McFadden.
Naturally. I think you've officially read more Freida than I have.
Yeah? Wow. What a difference. Oh, because I remember you talking about her. And I would continuously say, oh, yes, I need to add her to my TBR. I'll read her soon. It took me like a year.
That's okay. At
But
least you
I'm
got
here
around to
now.
it.
Yep. So, my next one is The Inmate. Synopsis is Brooke Sullivan, a nurse practitioner at a men's maximum security prison, harbors a secret. Her inmate connection to Shane Nelson, a notorious inmate serving a life sentence for murder. Despite strict rules against fraternizing with prisoners, Brooke's past with Shane threatens to resurface, risking her career and safety as Shane holds a dangerous grudge against her. Yeah, so, like, again, the plot twists, of course, were 5 out of 5. I rated this one again a 3. I rated this a 4, actually. Oh, yeah. The plot twist in this did actually have my jaw on the floor. I rated this a 4. So, like, 1 up from the other 2. Yep. Basically, Brooke has, like, a son, and I can't say too much. Yeah, it's also a dual point of view between timelines, younger Brooke and adult Brooke. So I think that's, like, Freida's, like, go-to thing is dual timelines and dual POV, whether it's the same person, older and younger, or if it's another person. But it was very interesting to see the events that led up to this Shane person being put in jail.
Okay.
And, like, what led her to work at this jail or prison. Yeah. There was a very big plot twist. And another big plot twist, yeah, it was...
multiple big plot twists.
Yeah, it was actually very, very good. Like, I just remember being, like, jaw open. Did I just hear that correctly? Did that just actually happen? Like, Very good. I wish that I can't elaborate more because anything that I'm going to say is going to be
spoilers or, risk hinting stuff that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she's very, very good at, like, leading, leading you down this one road to this one thing, and then it's not actually that. God. And every time, because, like, you warned me, you were like, oh, she has these plot twists that, like, you're gonna try and figure it out before it happens, but you're not gonna be able to figure it out.
Not
so,
gonna
like,
be right.
I put that to the test, man. I was like, okay, no, I'm gonna figure this one out. I'm gonna listen so well. I'm gonna, like, figure out every little tiny detail. No. No.
I really want to read that one because I have seen a lot of good reviews on that.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, I completely recommend. And again, with her, like, world building and her writing, it's, like, absolutely so effortless.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seems like. She doesn't use all of these big descriptive words or, like, all of these sentences full of description words, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I think back to it, I'm like, yep, I could picture it so easily.
Yeah. And that's the thing with, like, contemporary books is that authors don't need to go into crazy detail because, you can say that they're in a prison and, I mean, we have an idea of what a prison would look like.
Yeah.
You don't need, that much description in a contemporary novel because we already have an idea of what we're looking at or what we're visualizing.
True.
Yep.
Yep. Very, very true. What was your next read?
I will preface this with saying I have entered my ARC reading era.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It started out shit.
Oh dear. Oh, is this... I remember you DNFing one?
Nope. I went back to that one.
2-star?
Yes. So, Bronte Lovers by Angela Pierce. It's a romance, and I rated it 2 just to be generous. Like, I don't even want to, like, talk about it. The synopsis. Lizzie Doyle, visiting the Bronte parsonage, meets Dane, an engaging guide who contrasts her current boyfriend. As Lizzie and Dane bond over the Brontes, mysteries emerge about his past and peculiarities. However, Lizzie's growing fascination with Dane strains her relationship, leading to jealousy and potential stormy consequences. So, like, I mean, I love the good classic novels, like anything by, like, the Brontes, Jane Austen, love it. So this book really got my attention because of all of the references to Emily Bronte and, like, especially being there where they grew up. It was so cool reading all that. The novel did start out really well. I was still really put off by the characters. There was a lot of, like, very subtle, suspicious callbacks to events that happened prior to, like, when this novel takes place that you think is going to have a bigger impact on the story, but it doesn't. So it felt like it was kind of sloppy writing because it kind of felt like it was supposed to go one way, but then didn't. Okay, her current boyfriend is an absolute D-bag. Like, yes, that's true. But the fact that she gets so fascinated by Dane while she's still in this relationship with her current boyfriend, there with him, the way that she, like, entertains Dane, like, it felt wrong. Like, just... I didn't want to give it a low review because, like I said, like, I was all over the whole concept of this novel. But there comes a point in it, and I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, so just a heads up if anybody's planning on listening or reading Bronte Lovers, maybe plug your ears for a couple seconds. It comes out that Dane, like, after they are, like, together, we'll say, like, she leaves Buddy and, they're together now. It comes out that he's bisexual, and she has such a homophobic reaction to it. It's this whole big thing that she, like, really loses it over him having a prior relationship with a man. And it gave me such an ick. And I
reaction.
Oh my god, I was appalled by her reaction. And it was, like, multiple things throughout the rest of the novel then that, like she would even say something along the lines of, like, what if this, you know, hot guy comes in, are you going to leave me for him? Like, what the hell?
Did she have any character development after saying these?
Well, I want to say, like, kind of in a way, like they do have like a happy ever after, but she still, like, just still seems like she has that mentality that, like, she's so oh, it was just so gross. And there was so much miscommunication and lying. And also then there was also a part where there's she brings in like self-harm and suicide into the storyline.
Jeez. Yeah.
Depression, like physical and mental abuse. It all needed to be handled with so much more care than what the author administrated it. It was so bad.
Threw it in.
It just right out of left field. And it was just bam, right in your face, right? Like, there was no care whatsoever taken for this. And honest to God, like, I would rate this a 0 if I could. I think I am going to go back and change that from a 2, because after thinking about this more, like, it does not sit right with me. I think Angela had such a promising start to this and could have done so well with this, but she just lacked the compassion and the sympathy for anybody that have dealt with these situations. And it sucked.
I feel like writing about those types of things, you, like, I mean, as a writer, you immediately, no matter how big or how small you are, you have this opportunity to write about things like that in a lighter, like, not light, because obviously it's not a light situation, no matter how it's brought up, but, like, this author could have talked about these things and then had her have character development and come back then at the end of it and be like, oh my god, I've grown so much, I don't view things like this anymore, like, you know, and could have gotten such a nice message out there about homophobia and self-harm and mental health. And
she has this platform, and like you said, no matter how big or small, she still has a responsibility. If she's bringing these topics into her books, she has this responsibility that she's setting the narrative for it. And she just really, really fell flat with this one. So I'm gonna change that to 1 star.
Sorry. Do better.
I am sorry to Angela as a person, but as an author, I feel she had this responsibility that she needed to do this with much more care.
Yeah. We say this as constructive criticism. Not hating. Oh dear.
What was your next book? Get me off this tangent.
Okay. Well, let me tell you. Okay. My next book was The Teacher by Freida McFadden. This was her latest release. We talked about this in our releases in February, mid-month episode, actually. Yeah. So, me being just delusional and mentally deranged, honestly, and mentally kind of not all there with all of the books that I read and the quality, right? So anyone who is higher than me and has the authority over me, I've always been attracted to. I can't friggin' help it. So here enters a situation with a teacher and a student. But, okay, I am not supporting relations between a 15-year-old and a 40-year-old. I am not supporting that at all. This is not what I am saying, and this is what is in the book. Anyway,
Oh,
I'm not saying
college.
that.
College level with a professor.
College.
Let's
The bare
do it.
minimum.
15.
College.
Oh god.
Yes.
That is a child.
I just kind of like,
That's Maddie.
I know. So I glossed that over, and in my brain, I just kind of rewrote it, and I was like, oh, we're university students here. Like, it's fine. Anyway. Okay, let me go back here and just give you a synopsis.
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks.
Yeah. Eve's seemingly perfect life is shaken by rumors of a student-teacher scandal involving Addie, a student with a hidden past. As Eve uncovers the truth behind the rumors, she realizes that trusting anyone, even those closest to her, may lead to devastating consequences. Vague, but, so, dual point of view. I rated this a 3. Okay. So, my biggest point for docking the 2 stars has nothing to do with my relating my rating system to ACOTAR.
Mm-hmm.
It's simply the fact of the 15-year-old and a teacher.
Just gave you the heebie-jeebies?
Gave me the heebie-jeebies. But, again, I'm delusional, and I can easily just put that in the back of my head. Because I can understand when you have the attention of, like, an older, attractive man, of course, you know, it's hard to say no. Unless you're, like, one of the very few girlies out there who are like, oh my god, I'm so confident with myself and, like, so easy to say no. And I envy those goddamn people so much. Anyway.
Yeah, me too.
This teacher teaches poetry in English
So,
class.
in other words, you would have been...
That would have been me. 15 years old, I would have been at the very beginning of the line. Yep.
Emotional damage.
Yep. So. Oh, God. Anyway. Yeah. So, really messed up with that aspect of just the... Ugh, God. Yep. Very, very messed up. But I like the poetry aspect of it. It's really something. Then the plot twist comes, pulls the rug out from underneath you. Yep, flat on your butt. But then at the end, there's like a really nice coming togetherness. Okay. Maybe it's not at the end. I don't know if it's at the end. But anyway, the plot twist is absolutely insane. Like, you don't expect it. Again, I keep saying that because I know. But justice.
Okay.
Friggin' justice.
Okay, I like that.
Very beautiful. Beautifully done. You feel very satisfied with how things play out. Yep. I've heard this phrase before, only recently, like fade to black. So like it doesn't go into detail about any sexual or romantic things that go on, which I like because, I mean, especially her as a mystery thriller author, she's not going to go into too much detail anyway on like the romantic side of things. But especially with this situation, I liked how it was fade to black.
Yeah, a lot of like YA says fade to black or closed door.
Okay, I like that.
But yeah, I did notice that with the books that I have read by her, that literally everything that is any bit of a romance scene is fade to black.
I like that, honestly.
That I've read.
Because it's like, you know what? I wanted a break from romance, so give me my break. I like it. Yep. Yeah, so between the point of views between Addie and then Eve. So Eve is one of the main female characters. Addie is the younger in high school, other point of view, main female character. So Eve is married to her husband Nate, which is an English teacher. Okay. from the outside eye, they have this, like, perfect marriage, but obviously it's not. Like, behind closed doors, you know, everything's different. I rated this a 3, but, like, honestly, if there were... I know some relations had to happen for, like, this whole plot to happen. Ugh. Yeah. Yeah.
I have seen a lot of people say that this was one of their least favorite books by Freida.
I can understand that completely. Like,
Yeah.
and it has nothing to do with the plot twist. Like, the plot twist was amazing, but it's simply the fact that she don't have the main female character in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wish that this was at least first year university.
Yeah.
Then I can feel a little bit better about reading it.
It's just a heavy concept.
Yeah, especially, like, you know, thinking back to when I was 15, when you were 15, the fact that Maddie's 15, it's like,
yeah,
15, you're a child.
Mm-hmm.
Your frontal lobe doesn't fully develop until you're 25.
Yeah.
That's 10 years later. Like, you're a child. Anyway, very much, I still recommend it. Because it was good. Just when you go into it, just mute out the fact that they say that she's 15. Just add 3 years onto it, and then it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yep. What was your next read?
All's Fair in Love and War by Virginia Heath. So this was the arc that I was reading a little while ago that it was really slow going, that, like, I wasn't in the right mindset for it, and I had put it on the back burner. I felt bad about not hitting the date that they had requested everybody to be done with it, but it is what it is. I did my best. So this is a historical romance, 384 pages. Its expected publication isn't until May 28th, so you'll have to wait a little bit if this intrigues you.
Damn.
Yeah. So, when the flighty older sister of former naval captain Henry Kincaid decides on a whim to accompany her explorer husband on an expedition to Egypt, he finds himself unwittingly left in the lurch with her 3 unruly children and her giant mad dog. With no clue how to manage the little rascals, a busy career at the Admiralty that requires all of his attention, and no idea when his sister is coming back, Harry has to hire an emergency governess to ensure that everything in his ordered house continues to run shipshape. In desperation, he goes to Miss Prentice's school for girls, prepared to pay whatever it takes to get a governess quick sharp to bring order to the chaos. Thanks to her miserable, strict upbringing, fledgling governess Regina Rowe does not subscribe to the ethos that children should be seen and not heard. She believes childhood should be everything that hers wasn't, filled with laughter, adventure, and discovery. Thankfully, the 3 Pendleton children she has been tasked with looking after are already delightfully bohemian and instantly embraces her unconventional educational ethos. Their staid stickler for the rules uncle, however, is another matter entirely. So this is like grumpy versus sunshine. Governess falls for her employer. So, you know, it's got that like regency, you know, whole thing to it, right? Yes. And like everything just feels so like, oh, this is bad, you know? Like it's just so it is a low angst, which is great. Like sometimes you just need one of those books that just has virtually no angst in it. Yeah. And it is the start of a series, which is really, really good. I'm excited because I really like her writing. So this like spice is only like a 2. It is open door, but it's still mild. Like it's not anything, you know, clutching my pearls or anything, right?
Yeah, like what we're used to. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. So like I said, it did start off pretty slow for me. I don't know if it was just because I wasn't in the mindset for it. But like Georgie, she's a really likable heroine. She's like stubborn and outspoken, but she's also like really intelligent and honest. But like Henry, he's like stuffy and like really negative at first, but eventually like grows like to be sweet and vulnerable. So like me, that's like obviously really appealing, seeing that grumpy, you know.
Yes.
It was kind of like predictable, but it was an easy read, so
balances.
Yeah, I think for the most part, like, it's just a really lighthearted, just good escapism, historical read, so, but it was good. Yeah, I rated it 3 stars. So, I mean, it was good. I didn't love it, but it was still good. I would still recommend to read it if you like historical romances.
I do want to start reading some, because they do intrigue me a lot. I just haven't had the chance yet.
We'll get there. Hint, hint.
Yeah, we will. Yep. Yeah, we will.
What was your next read?
My next read was the featured read.
Okay. So I have one more besides the featured read.
Take it away.
I like this one.
Oh, God.
The Lady He Lost by Faye Delacour. So this one is released April 2nd, and I will preface this whole review by saying you need this on your TBR, and you need to read it when it's out April 2nd.
I believe it, because the way that you, like, adjusted your, like, sitting situation just then when you started talking about it, I'm ready. It's gonna be a good one.
This is a very, very good one. It's another historical romance, so I kind of got on the binging some historical romances for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm here for it.
Sounds like it.
I rated it 4 stars. 4.5 stars, sorry. I think if it was a little more spicy, it would be a full 5, I think. So the synopsis. Her only interest is in making her own way in the world. Luckily, he can help. Lieutenant Eli Williams was supposed to be dead. In the 2 years since his shipwreck, his friends and family mourned him. His brother spent his savings, and his fiancée married someone else. So when he turns up in the middle of the London social season, he quickly becomes the talk of the town. All Eli wants is to set his life back in order and reconnect with Jane Bishop, a friend who has always meant so much more to him, before returning to sea. Jane refuses to waste any more of her life pining over Eli, who chose her cousin instead of her. She needs to focus on gaining her financial independence by establishing a ladies' gambling club. Never mind that Eli keeps trying to atone for his past mistakes by bringing in new members. He's obviously keeping secrets about his disappearance, which means that she can't trust him with her heart, even if she did kiss him in a moment of weakness. Or 3. As Eli works to regain her trust, Jane's defensive walls begin to crumble. But when Eli faces a court of inquiry on suspicion of desertion, Jane must decide if she can let go of the past to build a future with Eli or risk losing him for good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad that you read out that one.
So this is a friends to enemies to lovers historical romance. Like, it's just, delicious. It was so... Okay. An absolute gem of a book. I read this so quick. It was, like I said, an arc that I got through NetGalley. And I did not want this to end at all. Like, the characters were just written so well. It just felt like they just jumped off the page. And, like you know them. You know? Like, that sort of... It's a slow burn romance. Very slow burn. And, of course, it being in, like, London, in the social scene. Like, she's like, out in society. And, like, when they're... You know, the dance cards and everything. So, like everything was done so, you know, she couldn't be alone with him, you know, just...
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, obviously it's going to have, like, Bridgerton vibes. Like, anything, like, I read now that's historical just brings me back to Bridgerton, because,
yeah,
you know, that's just what I have to compare it to. So, like, when things start happening, it's, like, so long coming, and you're just so ready for it that it's just done so well that you're just
is this out yet?
April 2nd. You have to read it.
Ooh.
You have to, because it is
Okay.
very quick. Actually, I think the audiobook is on our NetGalley, so you are able to listen to it yourself.
Okay. On my travels tomorrow, I will start that. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
The spice was only like a 3.5 out of 5. There were a few scenes. Yeah, like, I don't know how many scenes exactly, but there were only a few scenes, but they were just written so well, and there was so much, like, tension, and just, like, the feeling of, like, finally, you know? Oh!
I got goosebumps.
And, like, that bit of, like,
Yes.
forbidden, you know, to it, because it's then, you know? Honest to God, like, the world building that Faye does is just mind-blowing. I felt like I was there in that time. I felt scandalized reading some of it because of that.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Some really great supporting characters in this as well. Like her friend is just so supportive of her and almost like egging her on, you know, like and we love that, right?
Yep.
Like she's just like
yeah,
oh, go do it. And her uncle is just a sweetheart. Like he's just one of my favorite characters for sure in the book. He's not in there a lot, but the few scenes that he is in is just he's a sweetheart. Yeah. So April 2nd, that one is out, and I highly suggest you guys, whoever's listening, to read it.
I will be.
4.5, but I might just up that to a 5, like right here. I think the only reason why I did bring it down from a 5 was because the ending did seem a bit rushed. Like it just felt like it was very quick going once the conflict, you know, like that climax of the story, and then it was just like boom, right?
Oh, that's sad. Is it a series or just a standalone?
This is the start of a series, apparently, from what I've read. I think it's gonna be like different characters now, like maybe the next one's gonna be her friend. I don't know, because it's not saying on Goodreads that it's a series, but I have read that there will be more, so I don't know.
Yeah, I guess just she hasn't announced.
Maybe, yeah.
Or hasn't, publicly.
Made it public.
Officially.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked it. And I don't know, maybe it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I devoured it. And because, I mean, historical romance, I don't know why, but I've been very much interested I guess because of us talking about our next month's read. But first we have to talk about our current featured read.
Yes! Our featured read for this month was What Lies Within Masks and Shadows by Nicole May. This is a romance fantasy, so a little bit different for both of our month reads, honestly. Was this your only romantasy?
I think so, unless you want to consider A Dowry of Blood.
So this is part of a series, actually. Promises of the Marked #1. Throne of Glass meets The Witcher and Once Upon a Time in this heart-wrenching high fantasy romance packed with trauma healing, epic magic, and high-stakes rebellion. What could be worse than death? They made her kneel, so she would see them burn. Alora, a marked one, is bound to a fate of suffering. Therefore, when Lord Cain takes her as his lady, life under his status and within his manor should have offered her everything, including safety. Except, in the darkness, Alora is a dying star, an explosion contained by his will and cruelty. Waiting for the day, she'll blaze a light so intense it would burn at the edges of shadow itself. She endures her destined torment. But outside his walls, evil terrorizes Elysian, and as the savage prince sets his attention on Alora next, the lines between monster and savior blur. Her desire for freedom becomes tainted, and a new price must be paid. With rumors of his cruelty, ruthlessness, and unrelenting power, Alora's trust is not easily earned. She can't help feeling like she's exchanged one monster for another, a lord for a prince, a betrothed for a shadow beast. Can Alora ever truly be free under those who have bound themselves to her? Or will her only escape sit masked in shadow?
This was a big book.
This was a big book, but I mean, like we've always said, fantasy, it needs to be a big book because that's the only way that you're going to get your world building in, your characters, your character development, and this had everything.
Yeah.
This had all of that. So this was a tromance, enemies to lovers, had really good banter, the secrets,
plot twists,
slow burn romance.
Delicious. I think we really need to state right off the bat that to check your trigger warnings, because this is listed as being a dark tromance. So it deals with a lot of like domestic abuse. So just check those triggers. Be safe going into this book, please.
Yeah, she specifies all of that. So
yes, and you'll
see them all.
That's right. And there is a chapter by chapter content guide. So if you do want to, I thought that was so done really well on like the book I spoke about earlier in the episode.
Yep. Didn't have it.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought the magic system and like the world building was done really well. She goes into a lot of descriptions for everything, which is really good for anybody who, well, not just new fantasy readers, even seasoned fantasy readers. Like, world building does need a lot of descriptive words. I know we talked about this earlier in the episode where we said like a contemporary novel doesn't need so much descriptive, so it's a lot faster to read, it's a lot easier to read. But fantasy will always need a lot of talk.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of descriptions. So like I know a lot of people who went into this book did feel like it was almost overdone. I've read a few reviews that have said that it was too slow paced or it was too descriptive. But I don't think that is a bad thing for her and her book, especially bringing in a new fantasy world.
Yeah, and also, like, in our episode that we're going to release tomorrow with the interview, you'll hear about this, but Stacey, you say how you don't see clearly. Like, you don't read books and see a movie. So you need those descriptive words. Yep. So, like, you're not the only one who's like that.
No.
So there's nothing wrong with descriptive words.
Yeah, like, I really appreciate when fantasy books go into more detail because of that, because I can't see it in my mind's eye, so I rely on the words to describe it for me, to explain it. And I did really like the banter between Alora and Garrick. Like,
so good.
They were just back and forth, like, literally the entire time. And even throughout the whole book, there's still that level of banter between both Alora and
never
Garrick.
fades.
Yeah, right? So, because a lot of novels that you have that are, like, enemies to lovers, once they're together, like, the banter just stops. You know,
which is so sad.
Right? Ugh. But, I don't know, we get it a lot with them, and it's great. And he, like some of the things that he says is just so beautiful that you almost don't realize that it's from him. Like... He's just... We need to protect him.
At all costs.
Yes.
Yeah, so this was, like, some of the tropes, I guess, really. Morally gray, MMC, slow burn.
It's very slow burn.
Very slow
Don't go into this thinking that you're going to get, like, a fast-paced, spicy romance. Like, there's a lot more to this. There's a lot more to unpack between both the characters, so, yeah.
But Nicole gave us a little inside scoop, though, in our interview, which you will hear about if you listen to it tomorrow, that book 2 is more spicy.
Yeah, she did say that there's gonna be more.
We have that. So what did you rate this book?
Yeah, I rated it a 4. I think that's a solid rating for it. It
honestly, same.
Yeah?
Yeah. Honestly, personally, the only reason why I docked a star is everyone here knows that I am not good with long books. I'm not good with big books. I'm really not. So with it being like a 700-page book, which again, I understand fantasy books need to be that big. And like I've also said before, I need them to be big because I don't want the world to be over yet. So I'm not saying anything bad about it being a long book. But with my mindset that I've had this past month, I haven't wanted a heavy, I have enough heaviness going on in my day-to-day life. So like I needed to escape into just quick reads, quick, easy, just distract me. Honestly, I didn't even really want to read about a whole lot of men.
Yeah.
Just didn't want it, right? So I'm not, I feel like it's just that's just my personal reason for deducting 1 star. Just because that's just where I am mentally right now. But beautifully written, beautifully done. The world, character development, chef's kiss.
Yeah. Yeah,
4
I
stars.
agree. I think my main reason for docking a star, I feel like there's some times, and again, maybe it's just because I don't understand, or not that I don't understand, but because I don't know, like, I can't get into that mindset of Alora because of what she's gone through. But I feel like there's sometimes that her anger that she directs towards Garrick, I feel is unfair. And maybe that's just because we all love Garrick so much.
Yeah.
So, like, I did find her a little difficult to understand, sometimes it was hard to sympathize with her because I didn't necessarily agree with the way that she was, like, dealing with her trauma.
Which, thankfully, thank God we don't understand that.
Yeah.
So we can't put ourselves in that situation to be able to understand why she's reacting the way that she is.
Yeah. I do have some highlights. Can I read it some highlights?
Yes.
So I have been, like, highlighting a lot of, like, small snippets because, like, some of them are just so well written that I'm just like, yep, Nicole knows what she's doing. So,
Love
like,
that. Yep.
Even just this one little, she was not the darkness she endured, she was the fire. Like, little things like that I've highlighted. So I'm not going to read out all of them because there's a lot. A lot of just little one-line things. And I've pretty well highlighted almost every bit of banter between the two characters because I just love it so much. But there is one here where darkness swarmed her feet, gradually drifting up her legs. A menacing chuckle scraped every inch of her body like the claws of a beast, embedding ice in her veins. Every hair stood on end as she felt his body press against her. Hello, clever girl.
I just got goosebumps.
Yup.
Oh.
Yup. And I had to highlight this one. Crying is not a weakness. It makes you stronger. Sometimes you need to be beaten lower than you have ever been to stand taller than you ever were.
There was one that I really liked.
Yeah.
I'm not big on, like, saving quotes. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm just, like, I don't know.
Too engrossed in it while you're reading it, basically.
Yeah, I think so. Make no mistake, my darling. There is no reality in which I would not return to you. I love that.
Yep. Yep. Oh, I thought when you said that you had one, like, short one, I thought it was going to be, flowers still grow after forest fires. How could I not believe that we can too? Like, what?
Oh.
Like, where does she come up with it?
That just gave me goosebumps again.
Yeah. So, yeah. I think for anybody looking for like, maybe if you're after reading, like, ACOTAR and, like, other, like, the fantasy, the popular fantasy ones, read this. I think you'll really enjoy
It'll
it.
fill your void.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's how I feel. Like, I feel like it
Yeah.
really fills the void. Because, I mean, everybody likes shadow daddies.
Oh my god, yes.
Right?
Ugh.
Yeah, so we're going to put just like a little preview of the interview that we did with Nicole May. She was an absolute gem of a person. Like, we had a blast.
She's
Before we
so
knew it, like
funny.
2 hours were up,
Yes.
and I just couldn't believe it. But she is a wonderful human being. So I highly recommend listening to the full interview when that's released tomorrow.
There are some spoilers, but like not crazy spoilers.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, even if you haven't read this book yet, you can still go into that interview and listen to it because it's still very informative, especially her as like an author and like how she wrote this book. And honestly,
true.
even just to come listen and laugh, like, I wish that I wasn't as sick as I was that day.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was laughing.
Yeah, that's one of the downsides to not seeing our video, because a lot of the time, like, our mics won't pick up that we're laughing because we're doing our our silent
Yeah.
our silent wheezy laugh, and that doesn't
Yeah.
always pick up on the audio.
Not at
So
all.
yeah, we really need to start getting some video on the go, I think.
Yeah. That'll come soon. Hey.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
That'll come soon.
Hint, hint. Wink, wink.
A little, not spoiler, just a little surprise. We're going to be back together again next month. And I feel like we only just said this last month.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely insane. But
that time
we'll
went
be
so
back
fast.
together for two. Whoop, whoop. We'll be back together for 2 episodes next month.
Are we going to do 2 episodes next month?
We're going to do an early episode, yep.
Oh.
At the end of the month.
Okay.
Here's your heads up.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay. We could potentially record the video. Or we could potentially
live.
Ah!
Go live. We're going to try it. So if anybody wants to join into that and as also laugh at us, because it's going to be something to see.
Chaotic and unhinged are 2 words that just instantly pop in my head.
And unedited.
Yes. That's what's most terrifying.
Yep.
So we will sign off here, but first a reminder to head over to our Instagram at MySistersTBR. Give us a follow. We're all the time posting stuff, but not too much. I mean, we don't overwhelm news feeds or anything, but we post important things and fun things. Challenges. Sometimes we do giveaways. It's all fantastic. So follow us there. And also, if you want to get email reminders and like a little newsletter at the end of the month, you can head over to our website, www.mysisterstbr.com, and subscribe there for free. Or if you're feeling generous, you know, there's a monthly subscription tier that gives you freebies and a percentage off on our store.
Which, like, hell yeah. Why wouldn't you want that?
Right. We're going to put a little sneak peek of the interview episode at the end. Yes. So just, you know, do a little scrolly scroll to the end to listen to it.
All right. Enjoy.
Toodles.
See you in 2 weeks when we're live.
Oh, God, that's scary.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, do we start the questions? Oh, I'm so excited to hear your answers.
How long do you have allotted for this? Because I'm ADHD. I will talk until it gets dark outside.
That is fine. It's already dark here.
That's true. I mean, I guess I'm on the west, so.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with, at what point did you know that you wanted to be an author?
This is a fun question. So I actually when I was younger, I would write in like a little notebook, and I started writing stories and stuff then. And I just
Love
actually the
that.
other day remembered that notebook, and I asked my mom to look for it. But so I've always been creating stories and daydreaming stories and writing notes and stuff. But I actually stopped reading like books, stopped reading for like a good 12 years.
Mm.
Like I just didn't pleasure read at all for 12 years. And that was sometime in high school to um, 2 years ago.
That is very
Wow.
similar for me. I went a long period of not reading at all. And then I just picked it back up like another one of those ADHD fixations, like the hobby fixations. I'm sure you are well aware of that.
Yeah, I am the same way, and which is kind of blowing me away because people are like, "This is your debut novel? Like, this doesn't look like a debut novel." And I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, I literally just started reading again 2 years ago. 2 years ago, and I started reading with a book called Bow Before the Elf Queen by J.M. Curl.
Yes.
And Janie and I are really good friends. She's actually one of the authors that have helped me through this whole thing. But
Oh, wow.
that to answer your question is when I was like starting to entertain the idea of why don't I write something myself? Literally one book. I read one book after 12 years of not reading a book, and I'm just like, I'm gonna write my own.
I
But
can do this.
same time, my best friend, and I'm not sure if this is a question later, I'll just quickly touch on it.
It
My
might.
best friend was in a domestic violence
Mm,
marriage for years. She had been out of it for 6 years, thank God.
mhm.
And she was writing a biography. Come to find out, he could sue her for defamation because people knew who he is, right? So she had to give up her dream for her writing her biography. And I was like, but I can. And so Alora Alora in my book is actually, I'm gonna cry. She's my
Oh,
best friend Annie. And a
Oh
lot of
my
the
god.
situations that Alora went through with Cain is stuff that my best friend went through. So when people are like, "Oh, this is so unrealistic," and I'm kinda like laughing because 'cause I'm like, "No, it's not.
It
It's
is.
not because
Oh.
it's based on a true person, a true story." There are some things that are a little different, but, like, that's when I knew I wanted to be an author, or I should say a writer, because I never quite
Mm.
was like, "Oh, this is definitely being published," right? So even as I was writing the book, I like, my friend would be like, you're an author." I'm like, "I'm not an author, I'm a writer. I'm not an author until it's published." So that's when. So, yeah.
oh,
Oh my gosh, that's
beautiful.
amazing.